Okay, guys, there are very many different ways in which you can speak. You could make a speech which is just read out. See, many a time, many political leaders make speeches which are just read out. But the way you read out is extremely important. When you lay stress at the right points of the speech, when you use the right intonation, when you use the right mood to project each aspect of the speech, it may become impressive even when you are reading out. It could be a speech which is occasionally referred. In other words, you have a piece of paper in hand and you are frequently looking at the piece of paper, but then you are speaking freely. You are not reading out. You are just picking up points from the slip of paper. A slightly better way of speaking than a read out speech. Then it could be an elocution, E-L-O-C-U-T-I-O-N. This is a kind of speech that you have heard and seen in schools. Elocution competition, you may be familiar with. Here, a student is given a good amount of time to prepare, and then he has to speak freely. He cannot read it out. So, elocution is a test of communication indeed, and the best communicator always wins in school. Next mode of speech is extempore, E-X-T-E-M-P-O-R-E. Commonly mispronounced extempore. It is extempore. The E at the end is pronounced E, not A. So extempore means you are given little time, very little time to prepare, and you got to make a good fluent speech for a good amount of time. Extempore. And then the toughest of them all is what is called as impromptu. I-M-P-R-O-M-P-T-U. Impromptu means you speak instantaneously. As soon as the topic is given, you got to start. So obviously that's the toughest way to speak. This can only be done by someone with very good communication skills. The IELTS exams speaking module trains you on extempore speech and impromptu speech. As you can see, your cue card presentation is nothing but extempore speech. And your discussion round is nothing but impromptu speech. So these are two of the toughest modes of speech, both of which are tested during IELTS. So initially when you practice for IELTS, you may wonder whether you will be able to do it. It would seem very difficult indeed. But then as you practice, things become easy. It's said practice makes perfect. So the secret of success in IELTS is nothing but practice. And that's why all our classes are actually practice oriented or activity oriented. It's not listening to a lecture. Even if you listen to a lecture for decades and do a PhD in English, still you may not be able to communicate freely. Only through practice you can do it. So how do we practice? In class, once the guidance is given by the faculty, the students should take over. They should start speaking. They should start writing. So it will be exercise oriented, activity oriented. It cannot be lecture oriented or listening to a lecture, which is indeed futile in terms of improving our communication skill, which we have realized. We have students with PhD in English still struggling to speak freely, or some of them even write freely, because they have followed a syllabus, strictly a syllabus. They have just done rote learning, R-O-T. Rote learning means mugging up by heart. And they have scored very high, even ranks in PG, MPhil, etc. So that's not what is required. What is required is practice-oriented learning, activity-oriented learning, It's the only way to improve communication skill. So we'll be doing this in every single class. Wish you good luck, dear students. Thank you very much.